What's up guys, it's Kiana and welcome back to my corner. So if you haven't seen my most recent video where I just posted it for May 1st for Cystic Fibrosis Awareness Month, if you haven't seen that video, you can click the link to go watch it below to let you guys know why I'm doing videos for CF Awareness Month, which should be obvious, but if you're not sure, you can go watch that video. Today's video is going to be the first video, like the first official video for spreading awareness. So you probably already know what it is by the title, but I'm going to be sharing what cystic fibrosis is like from an outsider's look, from somebody who does not have the disease but has a loved one with the disease or knows somebody with the disease, knows the ins and outs of the disease as much as the person with it, and can kind of talk about their outside standpoint. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. So I hope you guys are excited. If you're excited for Cystic Fibrosis Awareness Month, give this video a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button down below to see more on my channel. And don't forget to comment down below if you have any comments, questions, or concerns about CF. So let me shut up and let's get into the point of this video. Okay, just a disclaimer before we actually get started. I feel like I have to address this in every video, but my sister's puppies are outside right now and I have the back door open. And so if you hear noises outside, that's what that is. So I got my nails done for CF Awareness Month. I got this little purple ribbon with purple nails and I got them off Google. But anyway, let's get into the video. So starting off this awareness month, I decided to start with this video because watching my best friend suffer with this disease and then watching my best friend pass from this disease, I felt like it was the proper video to start with because I can really honestly say the different stages of watching your friend suffer to the point where they're no longer with you. I don't want to be negative in this video or sad or emotional, but it's going to happen at some point, so you might as well just have it happen today. But CF from an outsider standpoint is like you have no control over anything that's going on in their lives, just like, kind of like how they don't. But watching a loved one with this disease is so hard because you watch them take medications that they have to take, or their treatment, or just go through so many things that you can't help them physically get through. It's really hard because when I first met my two best friends, I had no idea they had a disease. I really didn't know a whole lot about CF in general. I knew of it, but I didn't know literally anything about it. All I knew is that you coughed, which is kind of an ignorant observation because a lot of people cough who don't have cystic fibrosis, but I just did not even know they had it. They were the type of people who didn't really use their disease as a crutch. Some people tend to do that with their diseases, but my friends didn't and don't. When I first met them, I never knew they were sick. Yes, they coughed. I never even thought twice about their cough. I just thought, oh, you know, they're sick this week. They just have a bad cough. A lot of people who don't have CF cough really nasty coughs. So I never even thought anything of it. I don't even remember how I found out. Like, I really don't even remember if I asked or if they told me. I really don't remember. But I met them in the 6th grade, and like I said, I didn't even know they had a disease. All I can remember is once I found out they had the disease, I wanted to know more about it. I did research about it. I would ask them questions, which they did not mind. I would ask them all the time, like, hey, is it okay if I do like a little interview about this disease? I researched it all the time. I just was really wanted to be educated on it because I would like go on Google and watch YouTube videos about it because I didn't want to make them uncomfortable by asking them, because I didn't want them to have to like dwell on it like, oh yeah, this is going to happen and this is going to happen or this could happen, and I didn't want them to have to sit there and dwell on it, because once you go through something in life and you've accepted that's what's going to happen to you, you don't really want to talk about it all the time. So I didn't want to ask them 335 questions all the time, so I would just Google it or research it. But then it got to a point where I'm like, I want to know exactly from somebody who actually has it and not from a textbook definition. So they just like told me they didn't mind me asking them, so I would ask them questions all the time. And there are so many common misconceptions, which is a video I will do later this month, but they were cleared up for me. I had so many different misconceptions because CF isn't just about the lungs, and it's not just about coughing. There's so many other things that go into it. But when I first learned that they had the disease, I just immediately thought, oh my gosh, like, what does this mean for our friendship? Like, are they going to be in the hospital a lot? Or am I ever going to be able to, like, am I going to be able to go visit them? Like, the hospital thing, when they first said, well, in the summer we'll go in the hospital for a tune-up, I thought they were going to be, like, in a hospital gown, like, bedridden. I didn't realize that they could actually get up and walk around and be normal people in the hospital. They just had to be hooked to their IV thing. I just thought they would be in the bed the whole time. I didn't realize that with this disease, you don't have to be bedridden when you go in for a tune-up. So the first time I met them, like when I first met them and the first time they went in the hospital that we were friends, I didn't go see them because I thought in my head, why would I want to go see them in a bed? So I was like, I'm not going to go see them. And then it wasn't later till I actually went to see them that I realized they could wear their normal everyday clothes, shoes, they can eat regularly, they can do everything regular. They just have extra treatments and different medications to help. But I just thought they were going to be bedridden. I really don't know why. It's just when you think of a hospital, think of somebody in the hospital, you kind of see it as a negative thing instead of they're just going in for a couple weeks for a tune-up. I didn't even bother to ask because I didn't even know that was possible because I didn't know anything about CF. As our friendship got better, I guess you could say, or as we went through the years being friends, I started to learn more and more about CF, and I started to not have to ask them as many questions because it got to a point where I just knew all the ins and outs just like they did. I'd be like, hey, make sure you take your treatment, or hey, did you take this yet? Did you take your medication? Or, you know, getting to some more stuff about a best friend who has this disease. I remember there'd be times where, I still do this, where I'd be like, hey, you know, because Aaliyah wears her oxygen, and sometimes I'll see her without it. I'm like, hey, you know, make sure you're wearing your oxygen because you have no control over their disease, and as a loved one, you want to be able to help them, but you can't. So what you do by helping is you remind them about medication, treatment. Not that you really need to remind them because they've been doing it for years, but it's just how we feel like we're helping because there's nothing else we can do. So, Aaliyah, if you're watching this, I don't nag you about your oxygen and your treatments because I'm being annoying. It's just the only thing I feel like I can do in my power to help you. But if I'll ask her, like, have you taken your treatment yet today? I just like to remind her, and I used to do this with Alani too, just because that's, like I said, the only thing I could do that I feel in my power to help them. I don't know. It just helps feel a little bit helpful because there's really nothing else you can do. Getting on, like, the negative side, not to make it super negative, but when I seen Alani first struggling when she first went to the hospital, I never in a million years thought what had happened was going to happen because, like I said before, visiting them in the hospital, they get to get up, they get to be normal people, blah, 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 blah. But this time around, she didn't get to do that. So I had never seen her like that before, or either of them. And so it was different for me because even though I had known them for years and knew a lot about CF, and I knew a lot about their CF, I never ever saw them laying in a hospital bed like I seen Alani, and that literally broke my heart because, like, I just would go visit them in the hospital, we would walk around the hospital, we would make videos together, we would be laughing and carrying on, and then there's a more serious side where that's not always the case. Sometimes there's a more serious side to CF where you're not always at the hospital for just a tune-up. You're there because you're really ill. And Alani, unfortunately, this time around was really ill, and we didn't get to have that same experience at the hospital. I didn't even get to talk to her at all when she was at the hospital. When she was in the hospital, there wasn't a lot of talking going on. She had her BiPAP, she was on the vent at one point, and so I didn't really get to talk to her. So it was just a weird hospital experience for me as her friend because there was nothing I could do to help her, and I prayed for her, and I was there as much as I could be there because of work. I tried to be there as much as possible, but I never in a million years thought what was going to happen. What happened was going to happen because as an outsider standpoint in a situation like this, you know how serious the disease is, but you forget that death is a factor. I did never think about them dying. I always pictured them, and and I consider them two people because they're twins, and I know you're not supposed to, but they were two of my best friends who I hung out with all the time, who I just see as one little unit, because they are a unit. And I never pictured either one of them ever passing as soon as it happened. So like, as an outsider standpoint, you just completely forget about the fact of them dying. And I'm sure they don't forget that because they have to deal with it all the time, which I hate that they have to think of that all the time. But, which is another thing about an outsider standpoint, is you can't change their mindset about what's going to happen in life. They just know what's going to happen, and they kind of either embrace it or they're scared of it. And I know Alani died of the one thing she didn't want to die from, and that just, I wish I could change that so much, but I can't. But from an outsider standpoint, you just forget that death is on the plate. And so I never, even though I seen how sick she was, I just never even thought it was going to happen. I really thought that, because her and Aaliyah are freaking fighters, I just really thought she was going to pull through. I really thought that this was not the end. I was like, there's no way. Like, I completely brushed it off. It wasn't denying how sick she was. It was just in the past how strong she's gotten through so many things related to her disease. I really thought that this was not the end. So it's kind of taught me a couple lessons, which if you want to see that video, I'll link it below, that, you know, you can't always just accept that everything's going to work out in your favor, because it's like that it's never going to happen to me type thing. I'm never going to lose my best friend. You know, she's never going to, like, this is never going to happen to her, but it did. So from my standpoint, like, watching it happen was the most powerless feeling I've ever felt in my life. I would give them pep talks all the time, like, hey, you know, there's gonna be a cure one day, there's gonna be this treatment one day, just hang in there, keep your head high, keep fighting, you're so strong, your strength is impeccable. And they inspired me so much. Aaliyah still inspires me, and her whole family is inspiring me because they've gone through so much. And just watching all of this happen to my friend, to both of them really, watching Aaliyah grieve and watching Alani pass, that were two terrible things I never want to experience ever again in my life. But from an outsider standpoint, it's, even when they're going through this and you feel powerless to help them, it's just the same as when they pass, because then you have to watch their loved ones go through a pain that you can't do anything for, and yourself, you go through a pain yourself that that will never go away. So one of the main things as a bystander of CF is watching somebody, you know, fight for their life, and there's nothing you can do. I know that's like that for a lot of other diseases and things out there, but this disease is the one that affects my life as an outsider. And watching my two best friends struggle with this disease ever since I've known them, but their whole life. Like, I've only seen them struggle since the 6th grade, but they have been struggling their whole life, and that's for every CFer out there. And it's just so inspiring that you can go by each day struggling to breathe and things like that, and they were still just as positive. They had their moments, but they were so positive all the time, had the best energy, and that's just so inspiring. So I know being an outsider, somebody with this disease, has really taught me so much. It's helped me realize that you shouldn't take anything for granted, because even though this is something they were born with, there's so many things out there that could happen to you, and you took yourself for granted. I'm just glad that I was able to go along this journey with my friends, because it's taught me a lot, and they have inspired me, and I hope that in a way I have helped them or inspired them. I always, every second I get, try to tell them how much they mean to me and how proud I am of them. I'm so proud of Aaliyah. She has come such a long way since this has happened, and I'm sure her whole family has, but Aaliyah is my friend. She's the one I see and talk to the most. She's come such a long way, and watching her slowly progress to a different point from when it first happened, when this first situation happened with Alani, I've been so proud of her. And not that I wasn't proud of her for being sad, because of course you're going to be sad. I'm just proud that her positivity is starting to kind of revive itself, and I'm glad I get to see her smile again more, because there's nothing more in your life that you want to see from your friend is to be happy. And it's going to be a while until her whole family, or she, because I was her twin sister, until she eventually gets to a point like that. But I'm just proud to see how much she's been progressing, and I love her so much. I love you, Aaliyah. I'm so proud of you. And that's pretty much it for this video. I am really bad at talking, really bad at finding the words I need to say, so I really hope this video made sense. At the end of every video for this month, I'm going to be sharing a memory about my friend Alani because she passed from this disease. So for today's video, since it's the first video and it talks about being an outsider of the disease, when we first met is I remember that I first became friends with Alani before Leah. We were in English class together, and I remember we got partnered together, and me and Alani were being friends, and we were doing some paper together. I don't even know what it was. And I just looked over and I seen Leah like mugging me, and I looked at Alani. I'm like, your sister looks like she does not like me. But I technically met Alani first. So that does not mean I was closer with her at all. I was equally close with both of them, but I met her first. We did an English project together, and then that's when we became best friends. So, best friends since 6th grade, and I couldn't have asked for better best friends than them. So, all I have to say is breathe easy, rest in peace, Alani. I love you so much, and this month is all about you. I'll see you guys next time on my corner. Peace out.